Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of Office Hours. I'm happy to say,
Oh, I can't hear you. I don't know if it's on my side. Let me check.
I think it's my side. Matthew Flo?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, give me one second. I think as soon as I press go live, my microphone disconnected. So I'm Yeah, I was just saying you're here this week, thankfully. So I'm sure as luck would have it, every week there's super-based questions, and they say I'm waiting for Flo. And now you're here, I'm sure there'll be none. So we'll see.
Here I am to help you on Superbase. Hello, everyone. How are you doing, Matthew?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's been I mean, we're obviously prepping stuff behind the scenes. It's very busy. But it's as you and I both know, Flo, I think I'm very much looking forward to when we get everything out the door because it's going to be a game changer.
Yes, it will. I can't wait to share more and to release this.
Yes, it's gonna counting down the days, basically.
Absolutely. Right, so this is the classic 10 first minutes.
Yeah, we may as well just from now on, we may as well just start this, grab a coffee, and then come back in 10 minutes. Can you hear me okay, Flo? Okay, super. So I was just checking that the microphone connected correctly again. If anyone's joining us for the first time and you're not too sure what this is for, you're more than welcome to put a question in the chat, or you can join us live. I've put a link in the YouTube channel. In the YouTube chat, sorry.
Everyone is shy today.
They are. Oh, it's crazy what happened at the Louvre.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
No, they don't think they'll recover. It's crazy. It's like something out of a film.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you can think about so many things like we organized that, we would buy this.
Yeah. I thought whenever I saw they'd stole the crown jewels, I thought to myself, how in God's name are they going to manage to sell them? But then it makes sense where they take the bits off it, and then it's, well, in theory, it's unidentifiable. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a
many
heist.
series around. Let's
Yeah.
wait.
Exactly. Yeah. Wait for the Netflix documentary.
Exactly. I can't imagine how many detectives should be around.
I know. When I saw it, I just thought it was going to be some nutcase who somehow managed to get in and smash something. But then they said someone pulled up behind the place, put up one of those cranes so someone could get up, and then they used, I think, one of the laser cutters to actually go through the glass, like in Mission Impossible or something. So
Yeah.
it's they definitely knew what they were doing.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was something like 7 minutes, if I heard
Wow.
correctly. Like, and I mean, it was in the middle of the day, you know, like the bigger the better, you know.
Yeah.
Bigger it is, the better.
It's crazy.
Like if you wish to just move from a flag to another, you have to fill in many forms and so on just to have something in your place. But you can go near the Louvre with those things.
It's crazy.
And nobody will tell you anything.
Crazy.
That's insane. Yeah.
We had a
Yes,
question from Witchley, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. He says, "Hello, how can I stream with Supabase with the chat component?" So I think you're talking about the AI chat component, Witchley, just because we have two chat components right now, one for just chat and one for AI chat. And it's only with the AI chat you can stream currently. I will just get up the documentation for you and send it in the chat, because it honestly explains it better than I think we could just over the call right now. So I shall put that in the YouTube chat for you. And in the documentation, there's a section on how you can stream the messages, but there's also a video I did that goes quite in depth. It's about half an hour long, which is obviously very in depth, but it explains in and out how you can practically set up the streaming with your backend. So that should hopefully answer your question. If anything is unclear, we'll be here for the next hour, so you're more than welcome to clarify with us.
I was curious about your use case, Valentin. If you can tell us more.
Yes. Emmerich has joined us. Emmerich has been looking for you, Flo. He's been on a hunt for you for the past few weeks, and he's finally got you. So, hey, Emmerich.
I wouldn't really go that far to kind of solve it, but yeah, sure.
All right. I
Sure.
hope
Yeah.
I'll be able to help.
Yeah, well, to be honest, kind of this week is like kind of the more open-ended questions and things like that. I'll kind of give you that. But this week, my not really a problem, but what I'm really trying to solve. Let me just kind of do a bit of screen share here. So I have a concept of an alert, which is, whatever data comes into a table, I run it through a matching edge function, etc. But what I'm doing here on the alert side, so for example, if I create alert, I have this section where I'm basically selecting multiple sectors, and that I have an action here, and I think I've done this with you, Matthew, or you've shown me how to do this, the remove and add to variable the selected sectors.
Mhm.
Now, all that is good, it's working, I've replicated it on other things, etc. What I'm struggling to do is whenever I actually click on on an alert, is the editing part. So for example, I can see the stuff that I have recorded in here, and when I click edit, I've been able to figure out how to, of course, kind of link back to, I guess, the title, kind of the drop downs, etc. But I haven't been able to pre-populate this selected sectors section, because technically here I should have everything set to selected based on that particular data.
Yes.
That's basically what I was trying to kind of figure out. What I have here, this is actually just an array, so it's not coming from a I guess Supabase table or anything like that. So it's just an array, and the way it's stored in Supabase is just stored in a JSON field, basically.
And so inside of this list, have you got the initial value of any of the, I think we call them switches. I can't remember what we call the element, but the toggle. Have you got the initial value set for any of them?
Yeah. Yes. So I'm basically just picking up the alert details, and in here, I basically have sectors. So these would be the ones that have been selected. And these would be, I guess, the regions. I mean, this is probably kind of not the best example, just because I have so many, and the majority of them are selected. But that's basically, yeah. So they're coming part of the.
That makes sense. I think it should be pretty straightforward, if I understand what you just showed me. So if you go into where the toggles are, so that pop up.
Yeah.
And then you put it into edit mode. If you click into one of the toggles, and then if you go to the settings panel, so the middle one. Sorry, it was in the, this is a custom component. So
this is a custom component.
Yeah, you have the initial value. And so I think we can just bind it. So if you press the plug icon, and then I think we just want to check if the title you're using for the item is inside of that array you have. So yes.
So it would be that. So would I bind it to?
No, you would take the one above it. So you would take the list. And this is the list of all the pre-selected regions, is that right?
Correct, yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say is because right now they're set here, and I think I've done something similar here, where I've done the initial value and I've created an object in order for it to kind of be picked up.
This is unique to the select, because the select needs an object. But for this, you need to return true or false. And I guess what we want to check for is if this pre-selection array contains this item's value, basically. And so what we can do is in the formulas, in the array section, and there's an
array, yeah.
There's one called contains, so the second one along.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you get rid of the if condition, yeah. And then, so in the contains, you need to first put the array, and then what it checks for. So you can do comma, and then if you go to the first tab, yeah, and then It would
I'll do
be
region name, yeah.
yes, and then you can just do a closing parentheses, and that should work now.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll just follow the same process for the other one. Well, let me just out of curiosity, let's just check another one. So this one I think had the majority of them checked, but do that. Yeah, perfect.
Super.
I don't think I didn't do the kind of the update button in there, but yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's I mean, like I said, this seemed to have been an easy one to sort out. I think I had something else. Oh yeah, I guess in terms of the question for Flo, I think it was like a couple of months ago or something like that. Superbase mentioned some Dino 2.1 update or something like that, and they were mentioning something like edge functions speed or trigger has increased. And I was thinking, like, do those type of things affect, I guess, people that use Superbase as a backend in terms of, because the way Superbase kind of formulates their, I guess, functionality, they kind of talk about the whole self-hosting and I guess integrations with other types of technologies. But I was thinking, like, whenever they say that, now Dino function supports something else, do those kind of automatically translate in terms of what we can do, part of the edge functions with WeWeb, or is it something that is kind of distinguished between what we can do in combination with WeWeb and what we could do in combination if we were to use Superbase as a backend for something else?
That's a really good question. So basically, it won't change how you use Superbase with WeWeb. Those kind of things. It's really related to what you can do within an edge function. So it's Dino is the framework on top of this. So it's JavaScript basically, and it's evolving. So they have to support new version for this, and sometimes you have a new feature that is available in that new version. So it means that you can do more usually. So you don't have to update your edge function, but sometimes there is a functionality that you can do. Just to give you an idea, 2 years ago, you could not connect any DB from an edge function or those kind of things. I mean, you couldn't do everything you can do with a classic server. And now edge functions, like in AWS, it's Lambdas, those kinds of serverless technology are more and more powerful. And you can do almost everything that the server can do, almost. There are details.
Sure.
So that's why basically you can use those serverless functions as a classic server. You can basically build anything, and this is what makes Superbase a backend for the record, because you can have this backend logic within an edge function to send an email, for example, or those kind of things.
Sure. Another quick one that I wanted to double check. You're probably familiar with I guess in the user management. I think that's what it's called, like the user management or the authentication. So in the Superbase authentication, in terms of emails or in terms of users, I think we have that option to send invitation in the backend in Superbase. Let me just share the screen so that way we all know what we're talking about. Yeah, so Superbase, you have auth, you have users, and there's this send invite or create new user, send invite. So I'm sometimes, if I want to just add someone or something like that, I was thinking like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? I just like, send an invite to someone. I've done a bit of searching on the WeWeb community on the forum, and people have mentioned that it's not really something out of the box that can be done. Because basically what I was trying to figure out, they're like, okay, well, if I send an invite, they'll click on a link, and in a way that whenever you send the invite, the user or the email address already gets added to the table. So anyway, in my mind, it was like, okay, well, the auth already happened, so I need to just take them. But I wasn't exactly sure if that's working or not. Basically, that's my first question: is does this particular functionality is that supported with WeWeb?
So with WeWeb, what you could do is to create a dedicated edge function for that. So you could use AI for this. Like you would like to invite a user with this, and so what you would have to do is to create an admin page on your application that only you could access. And in that admin page, you would be able to trigger that edge function to send the invite. Just make sure to add a security within your edge function so only you can trigger it as a user. It's super important because this edge function would be public, and so someone malicious could find the link, kind of, and so invite a lot of people at the same time.
Sure.
So 2 things to keep in mind. First, security for this. So ask AI to really make sure that only you can do it. Plus, if you really want to make sure you won't have issues, add a kind of a limit for those kind of things. Like you can do only 10 invites per hour or something like this.
Sure.
I'm telling you this because on our side, as WeWeb, you could invite someone in your workspace, and at that time we didn't add those limits, and we had some hackers using that endpoint to send something like 300,000 emails, spams, and those kind of things. And so we had a lot of issues because of this. So
Sure.
If you do it like this, if you kind of create your admin space to do it with your own user experience, just make sure that it works only for you.
Sure. My last question on or related, from not related to Superbase, but related to components and some of the things that you guys have shared. I mean, I know Matthew put something out on YouTube, I think, with Plot Code. I think probably a lot more people are waiting for that cursor version, because I'm using cursor. I kind of hate that Plot Code is like CLI is like, well, these guys have done a chatbot, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, they've done it now, but it's like, well, that's probably kind of the first thing I would say is like, I'm waiting for that just to kind of, because I'm thinking, for example, the tree component, like multi-level component where you're able to like, category level 1, and they kind of have multiple categories underneath. I was thinking like, oh my God, that would be so good to have like an out of the box version of that. But until then, more than happy to kind of do it. And I've done it for a different project, but I've done it, I think, when the AI was working with WeWeb. Now I'm still, no disrespect or anyway, but I'm still kind of not confident enough to kind of use my tokens for that, because I sometimes use it for something quick. So it's like, okay, it's just saving me 45 minutes. But if I just give it and it uses like 5 million tokens or something like that, kind of me bouncing it back and forth and it's not there, I've wasted that. And I've also, it's not something that I can pick up myself and kind of redo it. So anyway, that's what I was thinking is like, from a component side, it would be good to kind of have that. And then of course, still waiting on that cursor tutorial to come out, because I think that could help a lot of people kind of create these custom components.
I guess we know what I'll be doing Thursday or Friday, Flo.
Okay. In my mind, it was already done. I thought he was on the editing slate, basically.
No, yeah, it's so basically, when I did the video, it was supposed to be both in one video, but I ended up recording it for like 2 hours. So once I was mid-recording, I was like, okay, I'll split up into 2 videos, and then we put it out. And so with the back end stuff we're prepping, something else comes onto your agenda, something else comes onto your agenda.
Yeah.
But now there's so many people asking for it, I think I'll have to find time for it.
Yeah, sure.
Just to add on this, I had a workshop this afternoon with the tech team about creating an MCP server just for custom coded components. So basically, you could use any tool, Cursor or even ChatGPT now, and you would connect that MCP server, and then you would access the list of your custom components, and you could update any one of them with your own tool. So we discussed this, and what do you think of this? Would you use it? If I give you a link for MCP server and you are able to use it
Yeah,
to
I would
update
definitely use
anything?
it. So this is basically, I'm just thinking from my because I've been on both sides. I've created applications for some clients, and I'm kind of working on an application for myself as a, I guess, as a SaaS or whatever. But the way I'm really thinking about this, I think I'm more on the simplistic side. For me, what I would want to be able to generate from these custom components are, kind of visual elements. And what I mean by that is like, kind of the multi select thing is, for example, another one that I like that I haven't been able to completely fix. Oh yeah, this is an example. I've I have a big category structure in the back end, like a few thousand types of categories, like a multi-level. So then what I was trying to do, I was trying to kind of give the user the option to kind of, type, search, select, and that basically becomes a tag at the top, the fact, oh, you've selected this one. And and I gave that to the AI functionality, and he kind of did it halfway through, and it's like, he didn't really kind of complete it. So, but what I would really, some of the things that I've generated, for example, kind of visual components, so like, fancy graphs or things like that. Is like, because for example, I think I've posted it on the forum a while ago. It would be good to kind of have, a bunch of tutorials or something like that, not on the simple bar chart graph, because that one you can like probably figure out. But it's like, well, what if you have two lines and then you're like stacked or something like that? Because I think, text and tables and stuff, I think we're sorted. People are able to kind of do those type of things. But it's like right now, even with AI and stuff, you're extracting data, you're displaying it in different ways, and when you use application, I think it's much more digestible when you kind of see visual things rather than just text. So those would be the types of components that I would 100% kind of look for in terms of kind of generating to generate from these type of things. But yeah, if it's something that I can test or I can use, happy to do that.
Okay, doing noted, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we're going to move forward with this.
Just, I'm curious though, Emmerich, because I saw when you showed us the thing with toggles, that toggle was a no-code component. So is that from someone else's library, or have you actually
yeah.
experimented with the no-code components?
No, it's for someone else's library. I totally forget his name, but I think he was active on the community, and he sold, like, he had a library pack, and then I think right now he may not be active in the WeWeb community. But yeah, I kind of like those. It's like he kind of that's probably kind of, a bunch of backlog cases behind, is like, the whole AI. What I would really like, how you have this concept with like Claude is like, oh, agents, or like with cursor agents, it kind of runs in the background, it kind of does things. You know what I would like? I would like an agent, because technically WeWeb, it's like a visual element, visual application. I would like an agent to go with the and just check that how many types of fonts or whatever things that I'm using on all of the pages, to tell me, is like, okay, you're using too many things, or it's like, check how many types of buttons do I have inconsistencies or something like that, and to get those type of reports back, and then I can go and either action them or say, okay, action it or something like that. Those are the types of things. So with this pack, I'm kind of diverting a bit, but with this pack, basically what I thought is like, well, someone else kind of thought about these and combinations and stuff like that, and I'll just kind of reuse a bunch of these things, and I don't spend a lot of time of like managing my own design system. But for example, I'm not that familiar with the naming, but I think it's Shade CD or Shade CS or something like that.
Sure,
He's
yeah.
like, yeah,
That's
that's
him.
one. It's like, oh my god, it's like, if you guys would say, it's like, you know what, we just give you all the components based on the official library part of this. That would kind of save a lot of people a lot of time, because and also, like, you would be able to kind of say, like, okay, use that particular design system to kind of design my component. Because I think right now the components that are designed by the AI for my application are, I would probably kind of say, very Google-like. So if you use Stitch from Google, their design, I guess, tool, they design pages and stuff based on like material, I think, or something like that. I don't know. They're very kind of Google. They're very like, you know, wide spaces and stuff like that. It's like if you're building an application, sometimes you kind of want to put things very tight and tables and rows and stuff like that. So I can't really just say, I mean, I said this in the chat a bunch of times, but it didn't really kind of make any difference to kind of say, oh, make sure you kind of have tight spaces, or make sure that, you know, you don't need, and so on and so forth. So those are the types of things I think that I would like, is like to have that configuration. I really like the whole context element, because I was one of the people that AI didn't work for me for a bunch of months or something. But the context thing, that was brilliant. But yeah, it was custom, so I would really encourage, you know, for people just kind of use something, so it kind of saves you a bunch of time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for this feedback.
Yeah.
It's indeed super inspiring to be
Yeah.
able to
Well,
configure
anyway, I
more
kind of,
rules.
yeah,
And,
for sure. Anyway, I kind of kept you guys for about half an hour in case
no
anyone
worries.
else was in the line. But yeah, thanks for the help on this one. And yeah, I mean, hope some of the feedback was good. Like I said, in case there's something that I can test or I can help, just let me know. But if not, yeah, see you guys next week then.
Super. Cheers, Eric. Thank you for the feedback.
Yes.
It's super
Cheers.
insightful, because we've been discussing that kind of thing behind the scenes. So it's good to hear some kind of a reassurance, I guess.
Sure. Right on. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cool. Okay. Vishli had a follow-up question in the chat. He asked about how to handle the streaming in the chat with Supabase and Zano. So if you're still here, Vishli, it would be super useful to know your use case, because if you want real time, my guess is that you're not using a chat to try and create almost a chat GPT-like experience. You're actually using the chat to create kind of a human-to-human chat if you need to handle real time. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear your use case in terms of handling the real time. I mean, could you, Flo, if you were utilizing, if you wanted to stream the real time responses, I'm not too sure of the practical use case, because I would think if you want to stream the response, there's some kind of evident trigger and then some kind of event to get that response, or
it depends what you want to do. On Zano, for example, you need to, when you create your endpoint, you need to change the content type, and the content type of your response should be a stream. And then depending on what you do, so I guess you would like to, I'm pretty sure, reach out to an LLM and then just send what we call the chunks that you receive. But for Zano, you should find out many tutorials to do it. It's really I think it's in the top right. You have to toggle something like a content type, and then make sure that you're in your response type you did properly, if I remember correctly. And then on the front end side, you can use the AI chat component to use that kind of stream, and normally it should work without having to add some custom JavaScript for this. So it really depends on your use case. If you wish to make a stream for big files, for example, it would be a bit different. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. And then Batik joined us. Hey, Batik, it's been a while. And Batik said, yes, I would definitely use the MCP for WeWeb custom components if it existed. Okay. So good to know.
Super. Good to know indeed. Basically, for this, it's as you know, you've got a dedicated agent for custom components, and we did not updated it, so we still have some issues sometimes with it. But we do have all the backend logic and everything. So basically, the idea is to take all this logic, put it into an MCP server, and instead of using that agent, you would use ChatGPT, Cursor, Claude, your favorite tool, and that tool would have access to all the options our agents have access to. So that's why it can be a pretty easy to do kind of for us. So you would have the same power, the same features available in ChatGPT and Claude. So that's the idea.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking. All right, don't be shy.
Yes.
Ask questions. Did you add a lounge music, Matthew?
I did, yeah. There's like a small. I've been testing it since you've been away to see what suits. There's a lo-fi track I always run in the background now. Yeah.
All right, so I guess next week I should tease you with more features to have more questions. Hopefully I should be able to do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice, even when we launch. I think it'd be nice to do some live streams, just some build alongs with full things, because now I think once we have it in place, we could build things so quickly that we actually could realistically build a fully fledged working app probably in the space of an hour. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. We are entering the testing phase, so this is going to be interesting.
Yes,
You can absolutely do this, and you could tell us if you understand what we do.
Yeah. Hey, Anton.
Hi, Anton.
Batik says, I try to refactor my projects like from scratch. That's why I visit office hours rarely. I'm busy with Xano backend for now. Interesting. So Batik, out of curiosity, how would you say your time is split up from WeWeb to Xano? What would you say the percentage split is in terms of how much time you spend in WeWeb versus how much time you spend in Xano for the project? Just out of curiosity. Is that with our agent, Anton, or is that with using Claude Code or something external? With WeWeb, okay.
Yeah, the support team raised some issues with this agent. And that's why I think we are going to do it differently in the coming days, so you won't have those issues again. So I'm very sorry for this. Yeah. Okay. Got it. So yeah, like I said just before, so the idea is to turn the custom component agent to put all those features into an MCP server. So you could use it from ChatGPT, Claude, or Cursor, whatever you like. So basically, you could iterate on your custom component with your favorite AI tools instead of using this agent, because we prefer to be focused on the visual aspects of managing your application instead of rebuilding really Cursor for managing files for your components. So instead, we prefer to let you use ChatGPT, Claude, or cursors that are really built for those kind of things, and it would let us be focused on bringing values or on the other things. So that's why I think we are going to turn that agent into an MCP server for you. So you could iterate on your design system or your custom coded component by yourself with those tools.
Says, yes, I really need an MCP. Seems like this task is similar to make a detailed documentation, which is also very required. So is this you're saying you'd like an AI to create documentation for you as well, Anton? Or maybe I misunderstood.
I guess a documentation for himself to
in with WeWeb project?
For custom component, I think, if I understand correctly. But that would be great also, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I would love to have that. So put that on the roadmap, please. Flo. Matthew, I think it's extremely difficult to master the right architectural modeling skills. So 70% of my time was wasted on back-end diving into theoretical matters. Interesting. So do you mean in the sense of you spent a lot of time initially trying to think about how to structure the back-end, or you spent a lot of time almost creating the back-end and you then had to change things to make them work over time? Was there not a lot of initial time sink, or was there a kind of post-creation time sink, if that makes sense? We had to go in after and update it. And I'm also curious, Pratik, actually, how much did you try and use external AI? So did you speak to any kind of AI and tell it what you were building to have that model your backend in any way? Was there any AI involvement? And Anton, we have some documentation, but it's very short. Like I was trying to implement pop-ups for the leaflet map component, where pop-up should be a drop zone using an item bound for it, and it's really complex. So you mean like actual our own documentation of WeWeb? Is that what you mean? No, okay, I understand. I think you were correct, Flo. I think he means perhaps kind of like the Claude MD file, where there's little documentation on how to correctly prompt it. That makes sense. Yeah. Yes, that is very true, Anton. I think, I mean, if we go down the route of creating an MCP for it, yeah, I mean, the documentation would still be as crucial because you need to prompt it yourself. So yeah, we definitely need to.
It would come with it.
It would come with it. Okay.
Yeah, within CP you can also add within it documentations and those kind of things. It can also be a tool that you could call for it.
Yeah.
We can imagine many things. You have to iterate, but that's why I was asking if you were interested in this, and I see that you are kind of all interested in having an MCP, so we can iterate and imagine many different things to that. So I'd love to poke this and to see what we could do with it, because I think this would be the proper way to do it. And it would be easy to maintain also for us, so we could focus on the full stack experience instead.
I had a client with consultations on WeWeb plus Superbase. He was stopped our requirements to understand SQL and relational databases. For the guy who told me about, yeah, that's kind of our thought process with what we're trying to build now, where it's if you want to learn WeWeb, you basically have to learn a bunch of other things. So, yeah.
And this is why I can't wait to release the
Yeah.
So I hope you won't have to struggle too much with this anymore. I hope, but we are working on this, and I hope we are on the right direction. I can't wait to show you more. Hopefully next week.
Yes.
All right. No other questions?
I don't think so. Not just yet. Here we go. It's all flowing off the one. Everything's connected tonight. I think more a cursor as well. Is there any chance of WeWeb being connected to cursor as an agent, so you would speak with cursor and have the results in WeWeb?
That's the vision. Yes.
Yes.
Basically, we want WeWeb to be part of the agentic world. So we will get there. And we could start with custom components.
Yes. Anton says he's in. I'm curious then, Anton, if that was available today then, so when you say have cursor build something and have the results in WeWeb, do you mean just right now a component, or if it even built the full application in cursor, and at some point in the future you could build with cursor, let's say, and whenever you want in the future, if you needed to go to WeWeb, you could go into WeWeb for some kind of manual iteration? Would you actually do that today? Could you see that as one of your use cases? had a follow-up from Batik. Matthew, my initial lack of SQL theory and data manipulation principles led to a structure that was almost impossible to maintain, especially in terms of adding new features. Yeah, it's similar to what Anton said, I guess, where it's that initial learning curve trying to model everything. And then Sean has joined us. Hey, Sean. Greetings. Are there any tips or gotchas you can give during the integration of charts with Chart.js? That's a good one. Do you want to? I have a few. Do you want to go first, Flo? If there's any gotchas you'd recommend when trying to work with AS?
I guess first, just add the plugin, and you can ask AI to set up your charts. It works pretty well when you need to initialize them, and then we need more details on what you would like to do and to build to give you more advices. But first, yeah, just add the plugin and ask AI to set up your charts.
Yes, Flo took the words out of my mouth. I would have said use AI. Before AI, it was pretty difficult because you have the basic mode, and I think we call it the advanced mode. And the advanced mode is really powerful because it basically lets you configure anything that Charts.js does. But when you first start working with it, it can be a bit daunting. So if this was a year ago, I would have sent you the Chart.js documentation and said try and get familiar with how you configure the 3 different options when you have it in advanced. But honestly, I would just, as Flo said, try and get AI to work with it, however best you need it to. And at a last resort, try and manually configure it because you can configure pretty much anything it allows you to, but try AI first. And then Anton got back to us. Now I research how to code with Cursor and its agents. It looks like it's more efficient than Lovable or WeWeb AI, but I still want to have an editor to make small adjustments. To make small adjustments.
So just to completely understand your need. On our side, we are going to revamp how AI is working. Especially because, as you know, we are working on the backend side, and so we are revamping everything, all the orchestration with agent talking to each other, so you could have a similar experience as what you can have with Cloud Code or Cursor, like having a human in the loop telling AI, yes, you understood that correctly, go on, and so on, so you can feel in control with what AI is doing, because we know when you are asking AI to do something in your project, you're afraid to break everything. So the idea is to give you much more control, which is our goal. So I hope for orchestrating everything in your application, you would love to keep using Web AI, but like I said, we want to live in an agentic world. So then you should be able to use WeWeb within any AI tool.
Yeah. Just to follow up on Sean's Chart.js point, because I actually had to tackle this over the weekend. I just realized I made a typo. I put a prompt in the chat. I was supposed to be a single message, but YouTube doesn't allow a shift enter. So imagine that as a single prompt, Sean, if you can see my message. So I would say, here is my, I meant to put data, but I accidentally put date, so it's a typo, but it would be, here is my data. And then what you can do is, if you take the JSON of your data, you can put that in and then ask it to create a chart that visualizes this. I tried this over the weekend. I would say use the collection as context, or the variable as context, because it should be able to utilize that. In my testing, I think I had a few problems with it doing so I had to give it the raw JSON, but you can try both, see what works. And if the raw JSON is the one that ends up working, you can just go through whatever bindings the AI set up and just replace the array of data it would use with your collection data. So you could just use that with the AI. And then Anton's gotcha for Chart.js is to create functions for data instead of doing it inside and use a custom mode, yeah. And then Batik says he uses ChatGPT, Quen, and Claude a lot, generally for learning and understanding, well, yeah, so hodgepodge. That's actually a good question. I'm not sure, Sean. So if you use AI to set up the charts flow, is it something baked in that it will always use advanced mode? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, often yes. Yeah, I prefer that. Indeed.
Yeah. Yes, and Batik has a similar point to Anton. I love WeWeb for its visual editor, but not for the AI assistant. So the visual editor is the big thing. And then one other question from Anton. I guess it might be one for you, Flo. About Supabase, I wanted to ask how we can check if the user already has a subscription to some channel to avoid duplication of data received. I've found only subscribe and unsubscribe. So maybe that's related to the triggers you have for the real-time triggers. I can't remember them.
I suppose you create a custom channel for real time. I would need more detail on with your duplication of data, because normally you should not be able to subscribe 2 times, but I might be wrong. Yeah, I would need more details on some, just to check out why you would receive the data twice. Why would you be able to subscribe twice, basically? Normally, when paid, you would subscribe to the channel on page load for your users, so you should not be able to subscribe twice. But I might be wrong.
So I think Anton said it is possible to subscribe a user twice to the same channel.
So you need to check if you already subscribed, right? This is what you need.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I guess if you have it set up to use variables, I don't know if the real-time channel subscriptions persist over sessions, though. If they don't persist over sessions, or if there's some kind of... If the persistence is trackable, then I think using variables would not be a bad approach, if there's no way to actually check it with native actions.
No, indeed. But I'm curious to know more, Anton. If next time you could share your screen or create a post in the community, I would definitely check out what you did.
Some API for pop-ups and real-time subscriptions. Why the API for pop-ups, Anton? I'm curious. And Anton said his use case was he subscribes the user to comments when he opens the chat. But then I guess wouldn't the process then be to, if they close the chat, unsubscribe them? Or maybe I might be incorrect in my thinking. And then Sean had one follow-up question. He says, any major gotchas, tips for when developing with mobile? There are so many phones. Yeah, and there's also so many different mobile browsers, which makes it an absolute pain in the backside. Unfortunately, Sean, it's just try and... I don't know, Flo, what would you recommend? I was about to say try and make it as simple as possible, but that encapsulates a lot of things. So
yeah, I read it. The best way is really to, when you click on a breakpoint, really play with the cursor to check all the sizes. And try to have a design that expand easily. That's easy to say, not always easy to do.
Yeah, and then from my side, I would say try and minimize your use of custom JavaScript. because there can be certain mobile browsers that just don't behave nicely when you get into the worlds of custom JavaScript. Most do, but some don't, and they can be a nightmare to debug. So try and stick to the native actions. And we're on the hour, so one last question. Anton's point was, so he wants an API for pop-ups to determine how many pop-ups we have opened and in which stack order, and be able to target a pop-up to close. So you want to do that externally. That's interesting. What's the use case, Anton? Because I'm curious what you're trying to, what you're doing externally where you want to do that. And then for the chat, he says, yes, I unsubscribe. I just want to monitor this somehow. Yeah, so I think for right now, since there isn't something natively, probably your approach of variables is the best. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend completely disabling JS. Just the custom JS actions can cause some problems if you try certain things with them. And then I'm curious to see what Anton's external use case is, and then I think we'll wrap it up. Yes, if you have some kind of service, Sean, that can check it on many phones, checking it on an actual device is always the best approach, if it's possible, of course. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're, I'm super curious, Anton, to hear why you need what the use case is for the external pop-ups API. So create a topic for it, or post it in the support chat in the feedback report. That'd be super helpful, because I would be curious. Cool. Right. Okay. That is us at the hour. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for joining once again, Flo, to tackle all of the Supabase questions. And I guess from now on, Supabase will be replaced by custom coding component MCPs. So that will be the new
exactly.
the new thing.
Love it. Thank you, Matthew.
Right. Cheers, everyone. We'll be here next week, 6 or 7 p.m. Central European time. Cheers, everyone. Bye. Okay, I think we may just need to leave this flow because the end stream button isn't working for me. So I think we'll just need to leave it.
All right. Have a great evening, Matthew.
Cool. You too. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Cheers.